Welcome to Subramani. A friend of mine, reasonably rich, I would think very rich by these standards compared to the kind of people who may be watching. It doesn't matter what is his net worth, was asking me, as a rich parent, how can I ensure that my son doesn't get cheated in a bad marriage, and what safeguards can I take? So I said there are many safeguards you can do. First is you can sign a prenup, which is not valid in India. But you can sign a prenup, and you can always enforce it under the Contract Act. You can always give membership in a company and say this company membership is subject to your being married, and giving access to assets through that company or the trust. And these are many things which can be done. He said this is just too much, so send me a note. So I made a note, and I said, as a rich parent, protecting your son's assets is important, and there are many things which you can use. You can use the Indian Trust Act 1882, Hindu Marriage Act 1955, and Indian Contract Act 1872. Of course, all these things are subject to change, but you should please consider a lawyer before you do any of this stuff. This is just I'm just guessing from what I've done, and I don't have experience in doing this. But yes, some of these things will work, some of these things will not work. Well, no strategies can really be foolproof, because suddenly the court might take a different view or a lenient view, or anything like that. The governments are capable of doing any of these things, and sadly, the courts are more oriented towards helping women, which maybe they deserve it. I'm not getting into that part. That is for a different discussion. But there's a good chance that they will prioritize women's education, women's welfare, and they will feel that paying 1 crore per annum or 3 crores per annum for an education is not too expensive. It is within the rights of a person with a 200 crore net worth, right? Any of these things are possible. So some of the things you can do is first set up a private family trust. What you can do is keep all the assets in a trust. I know people who have done it, where the trust will pay your son an X amount of money. So in case of a divorce, he does not, that trust cannot be brought in and said this half the money in the trust should belong to me. That is not going to happen. That can't be attached. So first create an irrevocable discretionary trust before the marriage, and to transfer assets like property, shares, business interest. Transfer the business interest to a private limited company, make your son the major shareholder of that private limited company, but make sure that he cannot sell all those assets by putting covenants in the Articles of Association. Articles of Association of a private limited company, you can literally say whatever you want, right? This will make claiming the assets much harder in case of a divorce proceeding, because your son himself may not know the value of that company. So as they're held by trustees, by a mix of family and independent professionals, chartered accountants, lawyers. This guy has 3-4 chartered accountants working for some different parts of his businesses as retainers, apart from employees that he has. So some of those things can be done, and some could be family members, right? For example, business families in India use these trusts to ring fence ancestral wealth, ensuring it stays within the bloodline, and say these assets can be only handed over to the bloodline. It is my money and I'm giving it away to my son, to be given to his son, right, or his daughter, whatever, but it has to be in the bloodline. It cannot, an outsider cannot claim that asset. Perfectly possible to put such things, right? You can also grant some non-transferable life interest in properties to daughters-in-law, where till they're married to their son, they can have access to that house, which could be a vacation house, and things like that, where they won't get the ownership, but they will get the usage. Or set aside funds periodically for their needs from the HUF, right? So HUF property cannot be attached in case of a divorce. Set aside funds for their needs. Remember to put fairness into play. Like, you could create a property in the, let's say in Kodaikanal or Ooty, and keep it in the HUF and say so many people are entitled to use it. That cannot be brought into the divorce thing. Legal steps include creating the trust deed, registering it, mandatory for removable property, obtaining a PAN, filing annual returns, right? Avoid revocable trusts, as courts can challenge them as sham, saying you have done this just for the purpose of avoiding alimony, right? So you have to be worried about that. Draft a prenup agreement which is not explicitly recognized in India. Indian courts may not recognize it because all marriage laws, anything connected with money and marriage, the government of India does not see it as something good. So that is one problem, but it can still be enforced under the Contracts Act, and so it should be a pre-requirement. See, typically the girl may feel very uncomfortable if on the eve of the marriage she is told you have to sign this prenup agreement. So the children of your house, whether it is boys or girls, should know right from their 10th class that in our house a marriage cannot happen without a prenup. Now, if that is a family business condition or a business family's condition, that girl need not feel insulted saying, oh, they're asking me to sign a prenup. Every boy, every girl in that house who gets married has to sign a prenup. This can be made a norm so that there is no stigma attached to being said that you have to you have to sign a prenup. If you don't promote separation, you are going to create a lot of problems. So I guess in a matter of time, prenup will be accepted and understood by the courts as necessary, and so it might happen. But as of now, prenups are not easy to enforce. For Muslim or Christian families, outcome can vary, but uphold them for resolving discord. So remember all these rules as applicable to a Hindu marriage, to a Christian marriage, to a Muslim marriage, to a marriage in the Special Marriage Act. All could be different. So please don't just based on this video, don't start doing something. You need a very good lawyer, a family lawyer, especially if your family's net worth is in crores. It will be worth spending in lakhs to get these documents and all that organized in the proper way. Transfer premarital assets to parents or family members. That also can be done. If the boy has a lot of assets, some assets could be transferred to parents, etc. Today, without worrying too much about gift tax. Of course, it has to be a reasonable amount, and if the assets in the son's name are 50 crores, you can't really transfer all 50 crores somewhere else because he may have given bank guarantees and things like that. So it may not be easy. So be careful about that. Maintain separate ownership and avoid co-mingling. Don't make all your investments either or survivor or joint. Don't be in a hurry. Maybe some small amount can be there. Maybe you can put about 25 lakhs in some fixed deposits where husband and wife are co-owners, but all other assets till you are very confident about the relationship, you can hold it singly, making your wife the nominee or still making your parents the nominee till they pass away, right? If that helps. Keep detailed financial records of all assets, transactions, inheritance and gifts, and to prove that sole ownership in court. So if you're buying a house and she's a co-owner, make sure she's also putting in the money, she's also giving the guarantee, she's also taking her term insurance, right? Treat her as an equal and make sure that the lot of the AMI is shared. Need not be 100%, but make sure that she's also putting in money, and then it becomes easier for you to give away that asset, saying anyway half of it belonged to her. So it is easier. But don't buy assets in her name, putting your money, and don't buy assets in his name, putting your money, because it also happens that sometimes the girl is very rich, sometimes the boy is very rich. So, but will any court give alimony to a boy because he's unemployed and the wife is earning a lot? I have not heard such a thing, but yes, it is possible that tomorrow some lawyer or some judge may argue that that is the fair thing to do. Consult legal and financial experts, because not every lawyer understands finance well. So either you have a very good lawyer who is also a chartered accountant but practicing law, who will understand clubbing provisions, income provisions, etc. So once you understand all this, then sit, think and implement. Thank you.